I can't wait to see what unfolds here today. Thank you.
Thank you, Ambassador Sorvino. And that takes us to the next and most appropriate speaker that we have here today, a survivor of this heinous crime, Rani Hong. You know, we estimate that only 1 out of 100 victims of human trafficking is ever rescued. And Rani, fortunately, is here today to tell her story. A survivor of child trafficking and co-founder of the Rani Foundation, an organization that is causing a global shift in the consciousness by exposing the human cost of modern-day slavery, the Rani Foundation is Rani's response to what we all need to do to end this scourge. The Foundation's primary goal is to mentor survivors both to become leaders and to work together with global leaders in the movement to end human trafficking. By sharing her story, Rani Hong has helped international government officials, NGOs, corporations, philanthropists, and journalists understand the circumstances that give rise to human trafficking. She participated in the 2010 launch of the Trust Fund for Victims, led by Mr. Fedotov, the 2012 GA thematic debate on human trafficking, the first appraisal of the Global Plan of Action, and the high-level launch of the first GA International Day Against Human Trafficking. She is part of the UN family and an honorary member of the Group of Friends, and we are most honored to have her clear and strong voice here with us today. Rani.
Well, thank you, UN Secretary General and His Excellency of Foreign Ministry of Belarus, and the coordinator of Group of Friends Against Human Trafficking, as well as UNODC. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my honor to be here again with you. I am speaking to you all today as someone who knows what it is like to have the opportunity stripped away. I am a survivor of child trafficking. So in order to show the best practices, it is crucial to highlight the importance of survivor-led solutions. So within this discussion, therefore, this is why I am here today. I founded the Rani Foundation along with my husband, who is also a survivor of child trafficking. And we helped to create an organization to drive this issue forward. So we must continue persuading parliaments around the world to change the national laws on this issue. So another victim does not need to be sold like a product. I have again met with many victimized by this trade through a global survivor network. The network was created for the sole purpose to get survivor voices heard around the world and to provide a platform for survivors to connect with one another and to help support each other through the emotional trauma that they have all gone through. So now today we have partnered with NGOs worldwide to expand upon this vision. We are more than our stories, we are part of the solution. So we have learned great lessons from this network that has guided our work forward. So today I'll share with you my personal experience, but most importantly, I'll share ways in how the international community can fight against modern-day slavery, especially in the context of the implementation of the Agenda 2030. But first of all, I would like to tell you my story, a story of a little girl stolen from her family, a child who was imprisoned, enslaved, and silenced. I was raised in the southern part of India, where when traffickers came and stole me away from my family, I was sold to another state where I did not know the language. I was destitute. I had no voice. You see, my captors used intimidation and force to control me, and by the age of 8, I was near death. I was no longer used to my slave owner, so he sold me for illegal adoption through Canada and into the United States, where I currently live. Again, there are millions of other stories like mine, but so very few of us have the opportunity to speak up, or even the strength it takes to fight this trade. This is why I am here presenting to you. I'm giving you a human face to the problem, to victims like the girls and young women living in rural areas of South Asia who are targeted by perpetrators of modern-day slavery, but are unseen by the rest of the world. Their plight, their suffering, is hidden from view, but mine is not. Today, I speak for those without a voice. I am visible for those who aren't seen. I demand that we are heard and acknowledged. And today, especially, I speak for those in the global workforce. So according to international labor organizations, 90% of contemporary forms of forced labor occurs in the private economy, often linked to global value chains and trafficking of human beings. We know that corrupted employers and businesses make, again, $150 billion, huge amount of profit for illicit profits from every year by resorting to forced labor. Profits were the highest in Asia and developed economies. So we know awareness and education plays a crucial role to straighten the use of slave labor. So we created the Freedom Seal. This is a visual marker of freedom from human trafficking that businesses now can use to show that they are actively evaluating their supply chains and rooting out slave labor and are taking concrete action. Our public-facing label complements existing international instruments by providing specific guidance on effective measures to be taken to eliminate all forms of forced labor. It also addresses consumers. Consumers know that businesses that display our seal, whether in the retail spaces, online, or social networking sites, or in materials, have passed a rigorous yet attainable set of standards based on federal and global guidelines. This outside-facing system will truly help to reduce and prevent human trafficking. So I'm grateful to have the support of business leaders who recognize that the need to drive improvements in their global supply chains. This is one measure of impact and actions. This visual outward system, I believe, is a game changer. When it comes to addressing modern-day slavery, we need something that the world can look to and see how we're ending this trade. I'm also looking forward to working with the Vatican next month. It's encouraging to get his commitment to myself and to our organization and to survivors worldwide, that he believes in us and he's giving us an opportunity to push forward our Freedom Seal and our survivor-led projects. So in fact, I am excited to say that the manufacturing industry is really helping to lead the way. They've taken this issue on. So 30 years ago, there was a Diamond Technology Innovations discovered what water jet orifices after our overlooked component in water jet cutting system. But for this system, DTI set lofty goals to transform their industry with cutting-edge orifice solutions. And they also take great pride knowing that their products consistently outperform competitors and provide sustainable industry solutions. And now they have gone a step further, and they have joined us in the commitment to ending slavery. They've applied for our Freedom Seal to show that they, too, as a company, can take a part in ending this. So I'm very happy to report and to work with them. And then, ladies and gentlemen, we know human trafficking is not a business model. It is a crime. So after working on this issue now for 15 years, I believe that the international community is to achieve long-term successes. We need the 21st century tools that can give us reliable information on the offenders, the victims, and the trafficking flows. So this is why we are actively working with our new Rani portal, a new technology platform that will advance the fight against trafficking, a tool provided for member states to see from the lens of the survivors and how the trafficking works on the ground based on our experience. And with this new technology platform, we're able to communicate that on a worldwide basis. So this year, as a survivor-led organization, the Rani Foundation are exploring ways to make it easier for businesses and suppliers and manufacturers that have committed to ending slavery. We are actively working with technology partners to advance this work. So in the meantime, there are things you can do now to drive out slavery in the business chain. But we heard earlier before, we need data. We need information to be able to propel our work forward. And I'm happy now to join as well with this technology platform that is going to be capable to be able to assist. the migrants, the refugees, the unaccompanied children. We're going to look at that, all of those issues, and bringing it to a form that we can see and to work on. So as survivors, we call on the international community to help put pressures on the governments and companies around the world to show and to give accountability. Governments have an important role to play in the front. So I call upon you all to encourage best practices among member states by sharing successful examples of responsible corporate activities in the communities. Local country officials could also outline roles that the local businesses can play in addressing these issues while advancing their own corporate strategy. One way, again, is to support the due diligence by the public and private sectors. Consumers as well. Young people, we know the millennials are a huge generation that are looking to see what companies are fighting this issue. And I'm happy to say even my local high school in Washington State has taken proactive steps to say that they want their student store now to look where their products are made and make sure they're not made by forced labor. That's a step forward, and that is what our young people are doing today, and I'm very happy for that. So again, effective partnerships means we all work together, right? We bring the survivor's voice, we bring companies, governments, ambassadors, member states, everyone to coming together and fight the scourge. So in conclusion, we know policies and international instruments are a great start, but we also need practical tools to help people in the global workforce to have a voice. So to that end, it is my hope that this framework of our Freedom Seal could also serve as a model for countries around the world. As new emerging issues arise in the forced labor and the supply chains, now we have to provide a business solution, not just a governmental. So from my experience, working with survivors, listening to victim stories over and over again, and listening to their cry for help, I am here today to plead with you to do whatever you can to take action. Let's just not go home today and say we heard a great panel, had a great discussion, and go on our ways. Let's all take the time, the opportunity we have to do something. And I plead that on behalf of the millions of children who are enslaved, silenced, and unable to speak. So when survivors are made visible, we know that we can unlock new solutions. We bring the perspective and experience only victims, only survivors can bring to help solve this global problem. We turn a social, geopolitical, economic issue into a human one. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Rani, for those extraordinary words which are so heartfelt.